Beneath the shadow of expectation, Aston Martin emerges as the season's ultimate dark horse, leaving fans awestruck. Surging with unexpected speed, they relentlessly chase Red Bull's tail, racking up podium after podium. Yet a seismic shift rocks their world at the Spanish GP, as Mercedes unveils a formidable upgrade, catching them off guard and securing 2 coveted podium finishes behind Verstappen. But rest assured, Aston Martin refuses to languish in the wake of defeat. Whispers echo through the streets, heralding their imminent response, a trove of upgrades poised to reignite the fire within as they set their sights on the legendary Canadian circuit. Aston Martin were surprised to find themselves lagging behind both the Mercedes and Ferrari teams, despite the AMR23 often being the second fastest car after Red Bull in the early races of the season. Lawrence Stroll, the team's owner, expressed his astonishment at the sudden surge in pace from Mercedes, referring to it as a rocket ship. Aston Martin had expected to be the strongest team after Red Bull, but they struggled to match the performance of Mercedes and Ferrari. The changes made to the Barcelona circuit, particularly the removal of the final chicane, impacted Aston Martin's performance. The team excelled in slow-speed sections and major acceleration zones, which were no longer present. Additionally, the faster final corner increased speeds onto the main straight, exposing Aston Martin's draggy package and resulting in lower rankings in the speed traps. However, Stroll attributed the competitive gap to the management of the Pirelli tyres. He acknowledged that Mercedes did a remarkable job of preserving their tyres, while Aston Martin suffered from significant degradation. Initially, Stroll was maintaining a comfortable gap to Carlos Sainz and even pulling away from Lewis Hamilton. But after a few laps, the tyre performance deteriorated by Aston Martin, while Mercedes seemed to have excellent tyre management throughout the race. Notably, Fernando Alonso radioed his team during the race to inform them that he would not challenge Stroll in the closing laps, indicating a team-oriented approach. Stroll appreciated Alonso's gesture, emphasizing the importance of bringing the car home and scoring points for the team in the Constructors' Championship. He highlighted the mutual respect between teammates and the collective effort of the hard-working factory staff, emphasizing the need to preserve the car and avoid unnecessary risks for minor points. Aston Martin's rivals have made significant upgrades to their cars in the past 2 races, which suggests that Aston Martin's performance has fallen behind. They have been slow in introducing updates themselves, and this could mean they are no longer as fast as their competitors. Fernando Alonso, a driver for Aston Martin, has urged the team to speed up their introduction of upgrades if they want to continue competing for podium finishes. Team principal Mike Crack agrees with Alonso's push for improvements and assures that plans are already in motion. Crack acknowledges that Alonso is right to demand more from the team. He reveals that there will be upgrades coming in the next race in Canada, which will be a significant step forward. While Mercedes and Ferrari believe they have made progress and changed the competitive order in Formula 1, Aston Martin remains cautious. Crack points out that although Aston Martin struggled at the beginning of the race in Barcelona with soft tyres, things improved when everyone switched to harder compounds later in the race. This suggests that the overall order may not have shifted drastically behind the leading team, Red Bull. When asked if he believed that the upgrades from rival teams had shuffled the order, Crack replied, "No, I don't think so." Later in the race, when we switched to hard tyres, we were right in the mix with our competitors. We need to understand why there was a difference in competitiveness at different points in the race. The weather changed quickly, going from sunny to overcast, which we thought would benefit the soft tyres. Crack also mentioned that the race in Spain didn't accurately reflect the pace of the top teams, because Alonso's chances were hampered by damage to his car's floor during qualifying. This damage prevented him from challenging for a top starting position. Regarding the overall order of teams in terms of pace, Crack stated, "It's too early and simplistic to make a definitive assessment based on Barcelona. We haven't seen the complete picture in qualifying. It's similar to the beginning of the season when we need a few races to gauge our true position. It's possible that others have made bigger improvements, but our initial analysis doesn't indicate that." During the Monaco weekend, Aston Martin introduced some changes to their car, including revised suspension and tweaked brake ducts for improved performance. However, these upgrades were not enough to keep them ahead of their rivals. Fernando Alonso, a driver for Aston Martin, urged the team to do better. As a result, a significant upgrade package has been announced for the upcoming race in Canada, with another one planned for Silverstone. Meanwhile, as we mentioned before, their main competitors for second place in the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes and Ferrari, made more extensive upgrades to their cars. The Mercedes team brought a fully revised version of their car to Monaco and Spain, which resulted in Lewis Hamilton and George Russell securing a double podium finish. However, it's important to note that this success doesn't guarantee consistent podium battles, as the specific characteristics of the Spanish Grand Prix may have suited their car better than others. Ferrari also introduced their own upgrades throughout the season, although they were slightly less effective. Despite this, Carlos Sainz managed to finish ahead of both Aston Martins, while Charles Leclerc struggled in the midfield due to a poor qualifying session. Aston Martin has lost some ground in the development race. However, they are still in a favourable position. The issues they faced in Spain were an amplification of pre-existing problems. The team struggled with tyre wear, especially on the soft compound, due to a lack of front downforce, causing the front tyres to slide in high-speed corners. Changes to the track layout further exacerbated these issues as higher speeds were achieved on the main straight, where the car had excessive aerodynamic drag. The challenges experienced by Aston Martin in Spain have provided them with a clear understanding of what needs to be addressed. Alonso remains confident in the team's ability to bring upgrades that will resolve these issues. He even expressed his belief that Spain would be the last race without a podium finish for Aston Martin. Aston Martin's performance director, Tom McAuliffe, believes that different car designs in Formula One will eventually come closer together as the season progresses. Following crashes in Monaco, the underfloors of Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari were exposed, revealing their intricate designs. Meanwhile, a crash involving Williams showcased a simpler design, highlighting the disparity in resources between teams. Given that Formula One's ground effect technical regulations are still relatively new, teams have employed a wide range of design concepts. However, McAuliffe expects these philosophies to converge as teams aim to close the performance gap. While acknowledging the interesting nature of the photos, McAuliffe emphasized that his expertise lies elsewhere. He mentioned that teams have their own dependent tools, such as wind tunnels and computational fluid dynamics (CFD), which they utilize to improve flow structures, downforce, and efficiency. In reality, maybe it's better for Aston Martin and their team that they are not in second place just yet. This would give Aston Martin access to additional resources, such as CFD, computational fluid dynamics, and wind tunnel testing, which could provide a competitive advantage over the team in second place. But last season, Aston Martin reported being near the resource gap, so finishing higher in the standings would not only benefit their racing endeavours, but also have significant marketing value for Lawrence Stroll, who is a major shareholder. It would demonstrate his leadership, talent, and ability to generate profits for everyone involved. The consortium that Stroll assembled may not have a background in racing, and earlier this year he acquired more shares in the team to maintain controlling interest. While using other people's money can be a smart move, it also involves navigating additional challenges and hurdles. While Fernando Alonso, at 42 years old, may not be a long-term solution for Aston Martin, he has expressed his desire to continue supporting the team even after he retires. We can observe how he mentors and guides Stroll Jr. on the track, and their teamwork is impressive. Stroll has a lot of room for growth as a driver, creating an interesting contrast with Alonso's experience. It will be fascinating to witness the future development of the Aston Martin team and see if they are heading towards greatness. Alonso's contributions and the potential of Stroll's progression make for an intriguing dynamic. Lance Stroll is pulling all the strings that are needed to make a top team. While many might disagree that his son is undeserving of such a car, we are yet to see if he can grow into a championship-winning driver. What are your thoughts on this? With the new upgrades in Canada, can Alonso shoot for a victory? Let us know in the comments below.